Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times this Monday, November 2, 2020. For today's editorial, sports officials should unite in cleansing Philippine sports from the stigma of Cayetano. It should be a no-brainer for Philippine sports officials to unite behind the goal of ferreting out the whole truth in the country's funding and management of the 30th Southeast Asian or SEA Games in December last year. All should logically desire the removal of the havoc and the black eye that former House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano inflicted on national sports during the brief time that he served as chief organizer of the international sports competition. But such was the virus of irregularity that Cayetano brought with him and spread around that our sports officials are today divided on how far the Philippine Olympic Committee, or POC, should go in exorcising Cayetano from its records and its image. This conundrum has arisen over the motion of one faction of the POC Executive Board to file charges against the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee, or PHISGOC, with which the POC executed a tripartite agreement, with the Philippine Sports Commission as the third signatory for the management of the 30th SEA Games. Cayetano is the chairman of PHISGOC, a private foundation. Essentially, this faction wants the POC to file charges against PHISGOC because it has not submitted, to date, an audited financial report of the country's hosting of the SEA Games in accordance with the tripartite agreement. Earlier, the POC General Assembly passed a resolution to put up a deadline of October 10 for the submission of the audited report. POC Chairman Abraham Tolentino has gone on record saying that he was not in favor of putting pressure on the controversial organizing body. In reply, POC board member Clint Aranas contended, "This is a move to get hold of that financial report since it is already long overdue. The POC is not pushing anyone to the ground." He pointed out that the Commission on Audit gives only 60 days for a body that receives government money to liquidate, but PHISGOC has yet to liquidate 10 months after the SEA Games. "We just want enlightenment. We want everything to be accounted for," he added. According to a Daily Tribune report, Tolentino and POC Secretary General Edwin Gastanes voted against the filing of charges together with former POC President Ricky Vargas and board member Cynthia Carrion. It now appears that many POC officials were compromised by the devious moves of Cayetano in managing the SEA Games extravaganza. Some officials were given lucrative compensation in an irregular payroll operated by Cayetano, and this violates a cardinal Olympic rule, forbidding sports officials from accepting compensation for services. Among these officials were Tolentino, who served as sports director with a salary of 81,344 pesos for the month of September 2018. Another was Carrion, who was placed in the PHISGOC payroll as manager of ceremonies with a salary of 65,102 pesos for September 2018. Cayetano also compromised other POC officials by including them among the incorporators of PHISGOC. Among these was Vargas. There ought to be no argument about filing charges against PHISGOC over its failure to submit an audited financial report on the Games. This is essentially the same thing that the government is also demanding from Cayetano in its official investigation of the 30th SEA Games. An audit will be vital to resolve sticky questions regarding the management of the event. According to the International Olympic Committee Charter, members of national Olympic committees, except professional sports administrators, shall not accept compensation or bonus of any kind in consideration for their services or for the performance of their duties. The POC also asserts that its members, especially its officers, should perform their duties on voluntary basis to avoid conflicts of interest. But more than that, the tripartite agreement stressed that the POC would exercise oversight over PHISGOC. Absurdly, compromised POC officials could become a Cayetano line of defense. And that's the editorial for Monday, November 2, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.